We are going to be looking at these young entrepreneurs. This is a powerful video testimonial of some little children who had a vision, some little children who had a who wanted to work, and they built this company and really grew to be large 5-figure, 7-figure companies before they were like teenagers. And now they're making an impact in the lives of other young people to help them to learn how they can find what they have and contribute it to the world and see what they love and be able to do that and make an impact on so many people all around the world. So it's pretty exciting to see the young people who are just on fire and have so much to contribute and share with people, and it just shows really what can be possible. Stay in tune for the last end of it, because this is going to be like my favorite part about it. There's this one sentence I really want you to get, but stay tuned, and we're gonna hit play on this video here.
I can't believe that.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing good?
Hi, my name's Emily. I'm 11 and I'm starting a business called Emily's Sleepover Show. To raise money for my business, I wrote this book called The 5 Steps to a Perfect Sleepover. Well, I'm selling my book for $15 and it would make a great gift.
You wrote this?
Yes, sir.
How long did it take you to write?
It took me about a month or two.
Wow. Well, I don't, I'm an adult, I don't have sleepovers anymore, but I appreciate you coming.
Well, it makes a great gift. If you ever go to a birthday party for your niece, cousin, or daughter, it's an amazing gift.
Well, I don't have my wallet here with me right now, but maybe if you come back,
Oh, that's
my wife's
fine.
party.
I can invoice you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's $15. What if I did 10? Can you do 10?
I could do it 11.
11.
It's probably the lowest I could go. Would you do that to make some little girl happy?
All right, I'll do it for $11. This is literally the princess of the pitch right here.
Would you like a copy of my book?
My name is Russell Brunson, and I'm part of an underground group of entrepreneurs that you've probably never even heard of before. We don't rely on cash from venture capitalists to get started, and we don't even have goals to go public either. In fact, our motivation is the exact opposite. You see, we have products and services and things that we know change people's lives. But because we're fighting against the big brands, people with literally unlimited budgets, we have to do things differently. We have to do things smarter. We don't have financial safety nets because every test we take is with our own money. We have to be profitable from day number one. So how do we do that? How is that even possible? If you ask the MBAs or look at your college textbooks, they will tell you that what we are doing is impossible, yet it's happening every single day. And it's happening through an art and a science that we call funnel hacking. It's not really something that I can explain to you, it's something I have to show you. These stories are a glimpse of entrepreneurs just like you who have a dream and a vision who want to change the world in their own little way. I use the funnel hacking process to help make their dreams become a reality. Yes, we are funnel hackers, and these are our stories. Today we have Caleb Maddox and Emily Shea flying to Boise, Idaho. We're gonna have a ton of fun. We are going to build some funnels and we're gonna help get their message out to more people so that they can change the world in their own little way.
Oh, look at all this professional. Too professional for me. Too professional. How you doing?
Awesome, welcome to Boise.
Thank you.
How you doing? Welcome. Now, I actually have a kind of selfish reason for having them fly here to Boise. I'm really excited to actually help them with their business, help build a funnel, all that kind of stuff I love. But my selfish motivation is I actually want them to come and meet with my kids. I want my kids to have some role models to look up to, because most kids, when I was a kid, I didn't have that. I didn't have the role models of other kids doing amazing things. I wanted my kids to see what both Caleb and Emily are doing. When I first started wrestling, I started wrestling in 8th grade, and about 2 weeks into my wrestling, there was the state tournament happening. So my dad took me to the state tournament, and I saw 2 guys on my high school team won the state tournament. And in that second, I was like, I'm gonna be a state champ. And that was like my whole focus. And I'd seen it happen, and I believed it, so that became my whole focus. And eventually, I became a state champ. But one of my buddies, his dad took him to a national tournament, and he saw some of his buddies place a national tournament. And so for him, he was like, his trajectory is, I want to be a national champ. And so that's where he was shooting for. So he got a state championship easy, and then ended up hitting these higher levels because that's where he was shooting for. And I was like, man, like I hit where I was shooting for, but that's all. I wish I would have shot higher. And so one of my big secret motivations for you guys is like, you guys for me are like, this is national level. If my kids see you guys and see like that, like now it gives them something to shoot for. And even if they never hit that, like now, and you know, they'll aspire to more because they see kind of that stuff. Now, I'd seen both Caleb and Emily online. I'd seen what they were doing. I see the Facebook Lives. I see all the cool stuff that they're doing, and I really wanted to come to Boise so I could help them to take all of this passion and excitement and energy and all the stuff that they're doing and help put it into a funnel. Because I know that when you have a funnel, it helps you to get your message out to more people, and that way they can make more money. But I know what's more important to them and to anybody who's really an expert who really loves serving, the more important thing is helping them to have more impact on their audience and help serve more people. Now, before we get started and really get deep into the business part of everything, I really wanted to hear their stories and understand where they came from and how they got to this point, because it's not normal that kids this young are already having this kind of impact on the world. And I really want to understand their stories and their what it was that inspired them and got them to be able to do what they're doing today.
Dad, I want money.
How old are you at this point?
I was 9. Okay. And he said, go start a business. I was like, what kind of business? He asked me what I love. I told him that I love sleepovers. And then after a couple days, I just kind of thought through it and came up with a whole idea in my head, and he thought it was a great idea. He told me, you gotta raise money for a business like that, because that's gonna cost money. And so I was like, well, what do I do? He was like, go write a book. So I went and I sat and I wrote a book.
So that's where most people stop. Most people will be like, write a book, like, no. And you actually did it. Like, that's amazing.
I was like, okay, sure. Write a book on sleepovers. And I just did it. And after a while, I just went door to door to car dealerships, and I kept going and kept pushing. And even when I just wanted to stay home and do whatever, watch movies, my dad told me that I have a goal and I need to keep pushing to get there, and I've raised $20,000 going.
That's crazy. So what was your initial goal?
Well, my initial goal was first about like $3,000, and then I made it to $5,000, and then $10,000, and then I just kept going after that. I just kept doing it because I love to do it, and I got to 15,000. It was like, well, just stop, 20,000. That's it, and I just went there.
And you got it. So tell me about the very first time you sold it. Was it scary? Like, how, or was it just kind of like, I'm in, this is easy?
Well, first time I wasn't really nervous. I was just excited to make money and see where my life was headed.
That's amazing. Within the last year, you kind of committed to an entrepreneur, but prior to that, it was other stuff as well, right?
Mm-hmm. So I didn't get into like the money like she did. You know, I kind of got into more of the impact. So like my dad said, I was like super passionate about baseball. I wanted to be the shortstop for New York Yankees. I was waking up at 5 a.m. and this is like 7, 8 years old. I was waking up at 5 a.m. I would work out, then I'd go to school, and then I would do my homework, and then I'd go right back into baseball, reading, all that stuff. So I had a lot of passion, and I met a lot of different kids, and the number one question that I asked them, for some reason, I don't know why, and this is still a question I asked, you know, to this day. I even just asked the hotel worker that we had. But the question I asked is like, what's your dream job? Like, what's your dream life? And whenever I'd ask kids this question, a lot of times they didn't have an answer. Like, they didn't know what their dream was. They didn't know what they wanted to accomplish. They didn't have a goal or a vision. So I started coaching. I asked this one kid this question. I was like, so what do you want to be whenever you're older? And he said that he didn't know. Like, he was like, oh, I'm just a kid. I don't know. And it shocked me because I always thought that every kid knew exactly where they wanted to be, and they were like taking action on it. So I started talking to him. I started coaching him a little bit for fun. And like I coached him for like an hour straight because my dad was in the middle of speaking. It was at an event that I talked to this kid. And next thing you know, like we came back a little bit later, and the mother said that since that one conversation, he had way more passion, better manners, and was working extremely hard towards his goal that I helped him come up with. So I was like, man, that's pretty cool. Like that's a cool thing. So I started talking to some other kids, and I wrote my first book at 12 years old, started my first real company at 13, and just started crushing it on social media. And my book was actually like why I went into entrepreneurship, is because I started promoting my book, and everybody was like, a 13-year-old wrote a book, because I turned 13 after the book came out. So like a 13-year-old wrote the book, and so it kind of just took off from there, and I've been doing it ever since.
When I first got started, like I wasn't trying to teach people this stuff. I was just doing it. I was so fascinated by it, you know. And then like I start sharing things with people, and a lot, you know, unfortunately, too many people don't listen or don't do anything with it. But then there's like that one person that takes it and they do something, and then they come back and tell you, and it's just like, oh, like that's what, at least for me, I'm sure that fuels you to like, I need more of that. Like, it doesn't matter how much you read or learn, like it's useless for after a while, you know, until you like learn how to contribute and you start giving that, and that's like what lights you on fire. And that's I think that pivot from like personal development, personal growth to like contribution is fascinating, because as soon as people catch that, that's like when they get on fire, and that's when it's like, I can change the world, and like so much good stuff happens from that. So Yeah, I wish I would have had it as early an age as you got it, you know? And I had it early for most people. Everyone, I remember, because I was like, I'm probably 21, 22 when I like started happening, and people were like, oh, you're so young, I wish I started when I was, you know, like you, and it's like, man, I wish, like even there, like how much further, how much more could we have helped, and anyway, it's cool. Now, before Emily and Caleb came to Boise, they actually went through my perfect webinar, and they went and they created all the slides, and they put together a webinar, and they pre-recorded it, which I think was probably important because it wasn't just a typical webinar. Inside the webinar, they had all sorts of crazy things. They were showing off poop emojis and having contests and giving away hoverboards and all sorts of just crazy fun things to keep kids engaged and also engage their parents. And so I was really excited about that, but I wanted to make sure, before we just took that webinar and plugged it in, I want to make sure I understood who they were targeting. Like, were they going after the parents? Were they going after the kids? Because having a webinar is great, but if you haven't structured it in the right way to convert visitors and viewers into buyers, then it's kind of pointless and doesn't really help. So I wanted to get a good understanding of how they created their webinar. Who actually watches though, do you think?
The parents are sitting there and the kids are next to them. Like, we get comments all the time of my 6-year-old's next to me, my 8-year-old's next to me. Like, they watch it together, like it's a family experience. So to answer your question about the who's watching the webinar, it's both of them. And then who's going to have them come, it's like if the kid watches it, because I have kids following me, then the kid's going to ask the parent. If the parent wants their kids to watch it, it's going to go. So it's like that pool of which one do we go after, but they're kind of both.
Like, what's the dropping? What would make me pull money out of my pocket? And it's not like, yes, I want my kids to be successful, and yes, I think that this will help them get there, but as a parent, what's more interesting is your guys' relationship, right? Like when I was watching Snapchats of you guys at the gym together, like, I want that with my kids. Like, that's the most important thing. It's not like I want my kids to be successful. I want them to be a state champ or a millionaire. Like, I don't care about that. I want to be connected with them, right? Like, that's the thing that gets me as a dad to want to give money. Like, when you told me the books that your dad read, like, that was like, or had you read, I was like, okay, as a father, like, this is how I can help my kids progress. And again, I don't care if my kids are successful. I want them to be, but like, it gives me this connection with them. That's what would make me pull my money out. And so what I'm thinking through is, like, if the webinar doesn't talk much about that, like, that's okay. I don't think we need to retweak it. But in the indoctrination stuff, I was thinking, like, one thing I want to capture when we're here is I want to go somewhere with Brandon and film this. I want to capture, like, your guys' story and your guys' story, because that's what's key in the indoctrination sequence. Is why should the parent care about this? It's because of that, like the relationship with their kid strengthening, and that bond they'll get from this process, that's what's exciting. The externals, like, I want the kids to be successful. The internals, I want connection with my kids. I think, how do we bring that up in this process? That's what's going to increase conversions, get the parents to show up, get the parents pushing it hard, is when they see the stories with you guys individually with your kids, because that's the interesting thing, I think. All right, now that I understand exactly who they created the webinar for and had a chance to actually watch it, it's really fun. It was a really unique webinar, which was cool. But what was even more fun is they showed me, they've done a couple test runs with this, and they actually had a bunch of parents and kids watch it, and they sent me a video clip, or they showed me a video clip on their phone of what one of the parents did after they watched it with their teenagers. And I thought it was so cool, which helped me to understand that they completely had hit the target with the web class. And I want you guys to see this video that was sent to them by one of their students.
Hey girls,
Yeah. This is so cool, Mom.
are you guys wanting to do this?
Yes. This
I don't know, that's quite a bit of money. Are you guys going to be committed to something like this?
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
I would be so happy.
I've
if
already
you
started
actually
writing my
did.
book and planning
Yes.
it in my head and everything.
Yes. So have I. I've been like dream books.
So is this like saving up allowance for like a really long time, or you're going to like do laundry or
This is like-
something, dishes?
This is like anything to get money.
Yes.
So it's a good thing I already bought it for you guys?
What? What? Yes. Yay!
All right, so now we've done all the background work. I understand their stories. I've seen the webinar. Now it's where we actually get down to actually start building out the funnel. So the first thing I want to share with Emily and Caleb is the strategy behind what is the funnel we're going to create for them. How does it work? What are all the pages, and where are we taking somebody through the process? And the first page we're going to be focusing on in this funnel is a webinar registration page. We're going to have cool graphics on there that'll speak to the kids, but also be appealing for the adults, because although we want kids to come and watch it, the adults are the ones that actually have money. Now, on the registration page, what I want to do is I want to make a really fun video of Emily and Caleb kind of playing around, having a good time, and on this registration page, we're actually going to be giving away a hoverboard on the live webinar. And so we want to show them riding around on a hoverboard, having some fun, and getting people excited about the prize they can win if they show up on the web class with their parents. How do I stop?
What's up, guys? Kayla Maddox here. I'm 14 years old, and this is
Emily Shea, and I'm 11 years old.
and we have something really cool going on. We're doing a show called Age is Just a Number.
Kids, this is going to be an awesome show. We're giving away a free hoverboard, and we're going to be teaching you that age is just a number, that you can live your dream life now. Whatever you want to be when you grow up, you can be now. And I wrote a book, so I'm living my dream life now, and you can too.
Okay, so now we've created the webinar registration page, but when somebody comes and they go and they put their email address in to register, the next step in the funnel is what we call a thank you page, which basically what we're going to do is we're going to thank them for registering and then do everything in our power to make sure that they show up for the web class that's happening in the future. The more connection we build with them on the thank you page, the more likely they are to show up and the more likely they are to buy. Now, the webinar registration page is all about causing intrigue that makes them want to register, whereas the thank you page is all about building connection so that they actually show up. I thought it'd be a lot easier to capture this video. This one took a long time.
You're gonna come here, do a circle, right? And then you're gonna come just right up. I think just right up next to him and then say like, and don't forget
Okay.
your hoverboard. And then you can kind of go around him and then.
Thank you guys so much for signing up for the Age is Just a Number show. We're going to have so much fun. Make sure to put it in your calendar and do not miss it.
Don't forget the hoverboard. Woo! Woo!
Put it in your calendar. What are you doing?
Circle.
Break, stop,
Don't forget the hoverboard!
and then go again. There we go.
Don't forget the hoverboard.
Nope, you're not stopping.
Oh,
Don't forget the hoverboard!
Please stop.
okay. Don't forget the hoverboard.
Nope, still gotta stop.
Do not miss it. Put it in your calendar.
And don't forget the hoverboard.
If you could, I know it's hard, but try to like stop there because I think it'll be good.
Okay, right here.
Yes. Then you stop, say your line, and then you can pick up again, and then it'll be good.
Okay, cool.
Forget the hoverboard.
So you didn't stop. You gotta stop.
Thank you guys so much for signing up for the Age is Just a Number show. Make sure that you don't miss it. Make sure to put it in your calendar.
And don't forget the free hoverboard.
And oh yeah, don't forget that we're going to be giving away a free hoverboard.
All right, the next videos we're gonna create are gonna be the actual videos are gonna be in the follow-up sequence between when they register and when they actually show up. Now, if you see Emily and Caleb on video, they're so good. They're always very postured and very positioned. And what I want to do is I want to capture videos that kind of took some of that away and made them more real, made them more kids, telling their actual stories of how they got started. A lot of times, experts get on camera and they like to be polished and presented all the time. And I understand that. But for these videos, I really want to build connection, which means we have to kind of take some of those things away and be vulnerable and actually tell our stories, the goods, the pros, the cons, the positives, the negatives. And so what we're gonna do is actually gonna head back to my home and we're gonna film those stories there. We're gonna capture Caleb's story, then we're gonna capture Emily's story, and then I wanna capture a story of Matt and Joe telling the story about their kids and the connection they have with them, working with them through this process.
Whenever I was younger, my entire goal was to become the shortstop for the New York Yankees. Like, I love baseball. It was my favorite thing on the planet. But the problem was I was like one of the youngest kids on the team, one of the shortest and probably the worst kid on my entire team. So I went up to my dad and I said, Dad, I was like, man, I want to play professional baseball, but I'm really bad right now. I got to step it up. I was like, what do I have to do? He said that I can be the best if I want to. He said I can become a professional. But he said before I can do that, I have to work. So what he did is he sat down with me and he set up 3 habits that I can do every single day. And it was like one was reading, one was practicing baseball, whether that was hitting or fielding, and then one of them was exercising. Probably 6 to 7 months after the baseball season, all that stuff, I got a call to be on the all-star team. So I went from being the worst to become one of the best in all of Florida. And he taught me the power of discipline, because discipline is choosing between what you want and what you want more. So he would say, I know that you don't, maybe you want to sit home and watch TV, but I know that you want more to play professional baseball. And that's how he pushed me. So yes, it was hard, but my dad was always there to support me. If I would just if I could help one kid have a vision, if I could help one kid focus, if I could help one kid live their dream life now, it would all be worth it. And that's kind of the story of the first person that I helped, and that fuels me every single day, is to know that that little kid's out there and one day he's gonna be massively successful doing amazing things.
Do you have a sales funnel that's underperforming, or do you know you need a sales funnel but you have no idea where to start or what to do? If so, and you'd like my help, then go to funnelhackathon.com and find out how you can have me and my team help you with your sales funnel.
When I was in 3rd grade, there was this huge thing, I don't know if you heard of it, Rainbow Loom, and it was everywhere. And I went and everybody thought it was the coolest thing. Everybody was gathering around this girl and I was like, hey, I'll pay for it. And she was like, no. And then after I came home, I was like, wait, I can make money off of this. So I went and I got a bunch of Rainbow Loom. My mom helped me make the bracelets, and on the playground I'd have bracelets all the way up to here and on each arm, and I would just be like, hey, you want a bracelet? And then people would give me like $5 and I'd be like taking them out, and by the end of the day they all would be off my arm and I'd have like $40, $50 in my pocket, and I'd be like, I like this. When I first got my book and I held it into my hand, I looked at it and I was like, wow, I'm an author and I'm so excited to tell all my friends. Before my book was actually made, I had like order forms and I was out there hustling.
So we tried a car dealership and we just killed it. Like, she was in there for an hour, but she talked to like 50 people because there's all these, everybody's in this car dealership. Make probably on average, what, 100 to 150 per car dealership. And so that became the target audience and we focused exclusively on those.
The book, I guess, just impresses a lot of people. My goal for my book was actually to start my business called Emily's Sleepover Show. So I made a goal for $3,000 because I wanted this whole awesome set, and I wanted cameras and a Mac, and I wanted all this awesome technology, and I was like, $3,000 to cover it. I thought that was the most money in the world. Like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be a thousandaire. That's awesome. One day of sales can bring me up another 1,000 if I go for a certain amount of time. And I just kept going, and then when I counted it, I was at like 9,000, and I was like, okay, 10,000, and I went over again. I was at about 15,000, and I was like, okay, $20,000. That's a good number. And then when I got there, I stopped.
Need help launching your next funnel? If so, then go to 2commaclubcoaching.com.
Hey parents, what's up? If you're seeing this video, it's because you're either about to watch the show or you've already watched the show, and we're super excited to share this whole moment and experience with you and your kids. Matt, what do you think about this whole experience?
Well, first of all, it tells me a lot about you as a parent. The fact that you took the time to watch this with your kids. Like my friend Mr. Miyagi says, oh, no such thing as bad student, only bad teacher. So, we as parents.
Oh my gosh, listen, Matt, really?
Come on, like I gotta train him on the Mr. Miyagi-isms, Joe, that's why Joe hangs with me, so I could show him how to be a better
We got this little banter going back and forth. We're the parents of 2 super successful kids. We hang out all the time.
But we have fun.
We do. But guys, seriously, it's such an incredible experience, and if you've already watched the show, for age is just a number, but it's such an incredible experience to hear your kids talk about their dreams, share some of the struggles they're having. At one point in the show, if you haven't seen it yet, we even talk about some of the obstacles they feel, or some of the ways people, maybe other adults or other kids, make them feel about their dreams, and it's so eye-opening, and you may shed a tear or so too, but it's really going to help your kid realize that anything's possible now. Like, the world has changed and they can do incredible things, just like Emily and Caleb are doing, and just like all the stories we share on the show.
Yeah, so parents, thank you so much. Joe and I believe in you. We believe in your kids. We can't wait to see what happens. We do know this because we've seen in our own kids' life. Caleb and Emily, man, they're having so much fun because you know why? They've learned the power of having a positive attitude and also believing in themselves. And we as parents can make a huge difference in that by being our kids' biggest fans and their biggest cheerleaders. And if I can just leave you with this, I always tell parents that come up and ask me, if you could give me one thing that helped Caleb or Emily, it'd be this. You know what? For every time you correct them, tell them 10 things they did right. Just catch them doing right more. So hey, we love you guys.
Whatever the next step in the process is, take that next step. You're going to be glad that you did, and you're going to regret it if you don't. We're looking forward to your kids being a part of the Kids for Success movement.
Now, if we do this right, after the webinar is done, then we go to Facebook and we start buying some ads. Now, this is an example. Let's say we spend $1,000 on Facebook ads. Now, depending on the webinar and the market, the prices are always going to change. But let's just say for this example, we spend about $1 per click. That means we get 1,000 clicks that come to the registration page. Now, of those 1,000 clicks, my goal is to get at least 30% of those people to register for the webinar. That means 300 people from this 1,000 actually registered for the webinar. Now, of those 300 people, if we get about 20% of those people to show up, or about 60 people, then I know we're on target to hit our numbers. From those 60 people to actually show up to the webinar, my goal is to get at least 10% of those people to sign up for our program. That's 6 people at $997. And then from the replay sequence, we should double how many people we sell on the live webinar. Then the goal is for them to be able to put $1,000 into Facebook ads each week and get $12,000 back out. And then we just do that week in and week out, every single week until they hit the 2 Comma Club. Now, if for some reason the numbers don't work the way we explained, then we just look at those numbers and see what didn't work. Like, let's say, for example, the registration page doesn't get 30%, but only gets 10%. Then we know we need to fix and change the registration page. Or let's say the registration page does get 30%, but then only 2% are buying on the webinar. Then we know we need to change the webinar. All we do is after we drive some traffic, we look at what's broken, we fix it, we tweak it, we test a couple things, and try to get those numbers to work. And as soon as we got those numbers to work, now we have a funnel that we can scale. All right, so now that the funnel is done and all the videos are created, now it's time to start focusing on and talking about traffic. So I'm gonna take them over to John Parks and my team and let him meet with them and walk them through exactly how to get traffic into this funnel.
Well, this is Traffic Central. Welcome. So the whole idea with these Facebook videos that you're doing awesome at is that I think we can turn them into like conversions. I think we can make money off of them. We've got one guy from 0 followers on his page, a brand new page, up to 22,000 followers in about 22 days, right? Like just this was the one that was doing the best before we got a new winner. And this is why you do Facebook Live videos all the time. Like, people like to do Snapchat, and I think Snapchat is great, but I'm always like, do Facebook Live as often as you do Snapchat. Why not, right? Because Facebook Live is where you can make money. All the videos that are working for you, Caleb, you're not sharing content, you're not sharing like how to, you're sharing motivation, right? Those are the ones that are working for you, the ones that I'm seeing are working for you. And motivation, I'm thinking, can be done a lot quicker. Where a how-to is like, I've got to teach you something, so I need 5 minutes to do it.
All right, so now we are at the end of the day, and honestly, we're all tired. It's been a long day of strategy and filming videos and building funnels and understanding traffic and all these different pieces. And now I wanted to get back to the part of the day that I am most excited for. So we're gonna take Emily and Caleb back to my home, and we're gonna let them play with my kids for a while. We're gonna have a good time, and then I'm so excited because Emily and Caleb have agreed to give a special presentation to my kids and some of their friends to help them understand that for them, like, age is literally just a number. It doesn't matter if you're 11 years old or if you're 99 years old, you can have success in anything you want in life as long as you understand some core principles. If you want to write a book, you can do it. If you want to make money, you can do it. If you want to change the world, you can do it. And I'm so excited to have Emily and Caleb speak to my kids and help cast that vision and help change their mindset so they know what's possible for them in their lives.
Well, my name's Emily. I'm 11 years old.
You good? Okay, so what stood out to you guys in the video?
That age is just a number.
Why is that?
Because you can do anything the Lord would have you to do at whatever age you are. If you put your mind to it and surrender to the Lord.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There's no limitations. Never do we have to say, I can't because I'm too young, or I can't because I'm too old.
Amen.
I can't because I don't have enough. Because God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called.
Amen.
And the sooner we realize that, the better. Because isn't that what Jeremiah said? Jeremiah 1:8, he's like, Lord, I cannot speak, for I am but a child. But God's like, who gave you your mouth? It's like, I'll give you the words to say. Be not afraid of their faces. That's so true. What else stood out to you guys? What stood out to you, Carmen?
those core principles he was talking about are that last few seconds.
And that we're gonna see in the next video.
In the next video?
Yeah, where he's teaching the core principles to Russell's children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he's gonna do?
Yeah, he's gonna be teaching to the children.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna inspire them. Russell's children are gonna leave and they're gonna be like, what? I wanna start a business. I wanna join his program. And then Russell's like, yes, they don't listen to Dad. But just like put a little child in front of them and they'll listen to them. Which that really stood out to me because I'm like, well, if we put enough people in front of Noah and his video, and Noah's like, look, start with reading the books, maybe more people would be inspired to read the books.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
I thought that was interesting that so many people starting with books.
Why was that interesting to you?
Because that's like, it's just common ground between, we got Russell, and then we got these two kids, and probably other people too, but
yeah, I found out yesterday that Russell started with a webinar, and after his webinar reached like, I don't know, like $100,000 or something, then he wrote a book, and that's when it just really exploded. But the books are an intriguing part. It's really fascinating because we see like the end of a thing, and we don't really know what the path was in the beginning unless we like funnel hack their experience. But yeah, books are help a lot instantly and do a lot of good things.
Yeah.
What stood out to you, Mom?
So much. I just love those kids. You know, they were young, just like Christ was when he realized. And they're young and they're realizing. And what's really nice about children is that you could take them at that age, and they're sharp. You take them at that age, and you could teach them just about anything. And you let them with their creativity, and you're making sure that they understand and go down the right roads. They're unstoppable. I just think they're going to grow up, and when they grow up, they're going to already like live a life that a lot of people who have lived life haven't even touched. You know, and I think that's remarkable. And not only can they do it, anybody could do that. You know, we really live in an age where you could do anything. Yeah,
it's true. Did you want to say something?
Well, I did have something else to share, but
I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay.
I thought you were finished.
And I really think that children are the way to go. You know, we should bring children in if we can.
What were you saying, brother?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say one thing I saw from like them doing the webinars the funnel is having like being clear on who the audience is.
Why did that stand out to you?
That's a good question.
He used a good example of it.
How?
How? Because it's like you could do that. Little girls no funnel hack toward children or adults. Either way, it would have went well. And when they realize who is the avatar and who to aim for and what to say, and because you go at them differently, and he was able to like mash them together, which was nice.
Caleb Maddox was able to mash them together?
Catered to both of them.
Caleb was able to put them together?
No, wasn't it the little girl?
No. Russell didn't know who their audience was and was like, okay, I'm asking you, who is your audience? And Caleb was like...
Oh, yeah, it was Caleb.
He's like, it's both.
Yeah.
If we do one, it wouldn't work as well as if we do them together, because they're both sitting together. It's like a family ordeal.
What was he selling?
He's selling like a young entrepreneur program that
Like
just
motivation?
it's teaching young people how to identify their purpose or calling, their business or career, and to be able to set goals to work towards accomplishing
That would have been fun to
business.
do together, huh?
And he also has a book club that his dad had him read a book a month to transform his life. So he encourages other young people. He sends them a book a month for them to read, and they pay. It's a subscription program for that book club.
Cool.
So that's what they do.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting. One thing that stood out to me, it was funny, his comment. His dad was like speaking on stage. He was talking to this kid who didn't know what to do, and he just started coaching him for like an hour. And Caleb was like, it's like I was shocked. I thought every kid knew exactly what they wanted to do,
Yeah, right.
and they were working like would take a massive action towards reaching their goals in life.
Yeah, that was funny.
That shows you
funny, huh?
who he was hanging out with.
Yeah, it does. But it really shows you how like children have a their view of the world is only what they're exposed to. And it's very limited to just their environment. So our environment shapes us tremendously on what we focus on, what we look at, what we
think.
aspire to be, how we think. Yeah, that's what we say. So
Beholding.
by beholding we can change. So it's so important that we provide a healthy, wholesome, heavenly, encouraging environment for an army youth to be able to grow and to strengthen
Amen.
along the path of life.
Amen.
I really see how when more people listen to the Secrets trilogy, there's a lot of eye-opening insight in there that starts to make a lot of sense.
Not all kids are into starting their own business. A lot of them just want to play and dink around. But when you find those rare gems that like to do that.
But did you know also that all children are very impressionable?
Yes.
And people don't know what they don't know. The more information you have, like new information, new decision. And the more that you share, the more they'll care. And there's that like law that like when you see something enough, like at first you're like, I don't know what that is, and the second time you're like, no, I don't want that, and then the third time it's just like, okay, at least I'm familiar with it, and then the fourth is like, oh yeah, I remember that guy, and then the fifth it's like, hey, I kind of like this guy, and the sixth is like, what is he talking about, and then seventh is like, okay, I want what he has. It's just that frequent
association.
Yeah, it's the familiarity breeds trust, and trust breeds preference, and preference breeds like that decision. So very interesting. Leah's having fun over there. But it's interesting to see. Was there anything that stood out to you, Theodora?
Yeah, that this thing involved the parents and the children together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's special.
It's a blessing. I'm wondering too how we're able to involve the parents and the youth. Because one thing that I realized with working with young people, usually young people under 18 years old living in their family's home, they are, in a lot of ways, you're not really working with the child, you're working with their parents.
Yeah.
And the parent kind of like sets the schedule of the house. The parent like decides and like dictates what the child does during the day and their duties and their different responsibilities. And a lot of times there's like if you're working with them in ministry and the parent's like not heavily involved, then the parent will be working contrary towards a child who's serving the Lord and using their talents for Jesus. Because it's like, I know with one of the people we're working with, their parent just like subscribed or like is demanding that they spend 3 hours every single day doing like medical missionary training, sign language, and music, playing an instrument. And so they're kind of bummed out because they really want to be able to work with ministry more and do the things that they really love, and they're reaching thousands and thousands of people. But the parent is like thinking that these are essential skills that you need to have for ministry, and for do evangelism and do something productive or whatever the case is. So they're kind of like pulling them away from ministry to do something, hoping that that'll help them in ministry. And the person we're working with is just kind of like, well, I mean, you gotta do what the parents say. And I see that working with parents as much as we can is really powerful. I haven't mastered that art yet.
That's like Daniel wouldn't have been able to come here without working with his parents, you know. He couldn't be able to do the things that he does.
And a lot of times when he's home, he can't do a lot of things because his mom has him off doing other stuff. And wants to restrict him from gadget technology and video editing and different stuff.
Especially they don't realize how powerful it is in ministry.
What were you saying, Kathy?
I think if we help the parents to understand, taste, and see, because the parents thinking that these three things or whatever things that they think are priority, yeah, it's okay for them to taste and see, but if they don't taste a bigger variety of things, they won't know what the child's interest really is. So I think it's an education to the parents.
Yeah, I think education for the parents is key as well. Ed for Health.
Yeah.
So
I think that education for the parents need to be filtered too, because they couldn't sit here and watch a funnel flicks and in their mind be okay with that.
what would be the key things to share with the parents?
Taste and see. They really need to understand.
So we got that, but I'm asking what else? Does that just taste and see alone?
Well, no, there's always other things to teach the parents.
Yes, but that's good. I'm glad you shared that. What would be another thing for parents to understand?
Modern publishing.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Because when Diana understood modern publishing, she was like, whoa.
All in.
Yeah. That's when she's like, all in, I want to be a part of this. What do you think about some of the leadership, like developing their children as leaders? A lot of times parents want that.
You have to do it while they're young too.
And they understand that their child is a leader and how they can develop that.
And it's important to have them to make friends right now, you know, like to be able to come to an environment like this, and it's a safe environment, and to be able to make friends with different people.
Okay, so like godly influences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's something that Christian parents want often. So basically, what we're doing right now is we're mapping out the. This is another avatar. This is another avatar of the Army of Youth. We have to provide training for them so that they can understand what the Army of Youth has to offer, and recognizing that like someone like Hannah, who was like the mother of Samuel, who was a minister being a child. So like all those Hannahs that are in the world, what would Hannah want to hear about their child who's being raised up or trained and has desires to work for the Lord?
And that they'd be able to use it when they go home.
Well, we're talking about people like work with virtual volunteers and stuff, not necessarily coming here. We don't really want a lot of people under 18 here. But
I do. You have influence over.
Yeah, I don't want responsibility for children. I've had bad experiences with children under 18 coming over to ministry and stuff. So the what else do you think they would be interested in knowing that would help them to understand? Because if we could be intentional about helping them to, like you were saying, to make that connection in their mind, I really believe that their parents would be less resistant. And also Tina's family as well, they're just like, I like that you're doing ministry, but I really wish it wasn't on the internet, or I wish it wasn't online. And then it's just like, how much more opportunity do they really have where they're at? And like when you look at the ministry that's being involved in the local community, it's like, you want Tina to single-handedly like just go out and like raise up this huge work over in Mennonite country. It's like that. It doesn't even seem reasonable
Practical.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
But unrealistic expectations. But it's like a huge opportunity because she's working with ministry online. Then when she comes here, she's able to be in better contact and communication with her family. It's like there's so many benefits of working online that they're like the limitations are lifted depending on where you put your focus. Yes.
Another thing is, you know, how many people we lose because their parents want to send them to school, to college when they graduate.
How many people?
Oh, too many.
Who?
Robert Latham,
Oh.
is that his name?
Yeah, but his parents were atheists.
What about that other kid that we met up with at Isogenics? And his parents was pushing him to go to school.
When you say at Isogenics, what Isogenic?
It was Celebration or something. I don't remember. But
You talking about
anyway,
Christian?
I don't remember his name. But anyway, just the fact that
Can't think of anyone.
anything they need to do, they need to learn how to survive. And survival isn't the same as sending your kid to school and then they have a job for the rest of their life. They need to move in the market the way, you know, so they could be.
I completely agree with you. I think that's going to be a lot harder to convince a parent that the college education is not what's going to set up their child for success. That's usually a way to like have a parent be like, okay, I don't want this child anywhere near those influences. Tell them not to be around college.
But that's only until we have a couple successes. And then when they see that people are successful.
I mean, that was the path that I went. Like, I didn't go through college. I dropped out of high school, but I've been in full-time ministry. But regardless if they see that, they still, like, look at all our family who was like, you're going to destroy your life. Like, don't drop out of high school and, like, go get a degree, get a job, and do this. All our family is like, although they see that it's worked for me, they still haven't changed their view on false education. And they still think it's essential for success. And they would tell the next person, don't drop out of high school, don't do that, go get a job. And because it's deeply ingrained and false education is interweaving into their whole experience, and they've all drank the Kool-Aid of the universities and saying that we need this.
Well, we don't have to tell them not to send their kids, but when we give their kids a path to go down and they're making money for their mission, their missionary adventures, then it in its own way, you know, expresses that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we can show them by results. Yeah, money answereth all things, as Ecclesiastes says. Giving people that's like proof that they can be supported too. So it just boggles my mind to see how many family members are unsupportive of entrepreneurial endeavors, and even if they're making like quite a bit of finances, they're still
especially if it's online.
Especially if it's online, they're like, get a real job. It's like, are you kidding me? All of my expenses are being paid with an online business, but it's like you don't see it as a real job, and it just really.
Yeah, but you know the thing about that, Enoch, is that every 40 years a new generation comes up, and so it was like in the end of the 80s, the early 90s is when, you know, a lot of people started getting online, and the rollover is getting more and more, because you see like people who are married and young marriage and stuff like that, they take on to stuff like that, and they're going to be having kids and stuff, and so that.
Wait a second, you're saying the millennials, like reaching out to millennial parents?
I'm just saying that the mentality is changing. You know, there are people that are like that. I don't know.
A millennial is my generation. You're saying so when my age starts having children.
Well, we need to look at the age limit that we're looking at as children would be like 16, right?
16 to 25, but preferably 18 to 25.
So you're looking at 26, like the 30ish year olds, 40s, 30s and 40s parents.
Yeah, so those are still older people.
Mm-hmm. But they're
only
not
going to
so
be like that for like the next 10 years or so.
Yeah,
But then
they're
it'll
not
be like
so
my
distant.
generation's
Yeah.
children.
Yeah. They're not that distant from it.
You're right. They're not like you.
Right.
Your generation.
So, and you think about the people who are sending their kids to college, you know, how old they are. You know. They're the ones who are like, wow, I already went to college and I still didn't get a job with that. You know what I mean? So I think they're more open than what you think.
I think a lot of people are starting to wake up to college not being the way to go. I mean, all throughout the internet, you see people who just like...
Well, COVID-19's only going to make it worse.
Make what worse?
Make the way that
The
people
homework
think.
worse?
No, the way that society thinks, you know, of what's the right way and what's the wrong way. And when they see that COVID-19 affects...
I think what we're talking about is very good, but I think we're starting to deviate a little bit with this. But I agree with what you're saying. Do you guys see other like concepts, like if a parent could click in their minds the possibilities here, what would they need to know?
I
These
do
are great
think
suggestions.
when you had that question regarding like Tina's family,
Yeah.
if they truly understood modern publication,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but it's the majority of people don't truly understand it.
And they don't know what they don't know until we tell them.
Exactly.
How shall they hear without a preacher? So, what do you think we can do to provide tools for the youth to educate their parents?
Good question.
Because I find that
Videos.
like with Tina, she was like concerned, and I see it with a handful of the people we're working with. Like some of them have a concern to like an intimidation of sharing with their parents something. If their parents are like you should not be doing this, you need to go off over here. Like they have different expectations. They really don't want to disappoint the expectations of the parents. I mean, this is a huge driving factor for a lot of young people. That is rough.
Yeah.
But if we could provide them tools of some sort that could be an education for the parents.
Videos.
Like videos, what kind of videos?
Like the modern publishing videos.
Like daily life videos are like 18 minutes. If we took that modern publishing presentation and broke it down into some smaller sections.
Or videos that the parent and the child could be together learning.
Oh yeah, like Caleb Maddox. We can put up some poop emojis.
Yeah.
And give away free hoverboard.
Yeah.
Make it engaging for the children and the parents.
Yeah.
That was a weird comment when they said that. But they're working for younger children. We're not.
It's effective.
Yeah, we're not working with children.
Young adults.
Yeah, more young adults. So, but yeah, you're right. Having some videos with them, for them. That sounds like that would be good. Oh, you know what we could do too? We could provide an education. You know how we have an onboarding system for the volunteers? We can have an onboarding system for the parents. That's very concise, very calculated. Like these are the key things that you should know about the Army of Youth, and we can just cast the vision of what we can do for your children.
And with the parents, if you teach them that you're gonna include them with everything that their child's doing, that it's a family thing and not a child thing or a parent thing, it's a family thing, then you know they'd be
promoting
more willing.
the family oriented.
So what would that mean? Like, what would that look like? A family-oriented. What is family-oriented?
The education
aspect of it,
and the doing, the like when they're learning about mission. Like parents, they might not know how to talk about being a missionary to their child, and yet they want to do missionary work, and the parent might not know how. But together they can learn together, and then the parent can make sure that they're being taught right, and not some like weird thing being told to their child. You know. get them caught up in some other country that's, you know, not good or something. And then they could do missionary work just right here.
I still don't understand what that would look like. So you're saying like have videos on where or what, like daily life videos that are directed to parents and children?
Well, you have to decide what you want to teach them first, you know.
Are you talking about our online courses, or are you talking about...
Well, I'm talking about like, let's say that you were going to go to college after school. That's what you're going to do. Well, the parent doesn't just say, okay, go get a sign up. He'd be saying like, sign up where? What? How? You know? And so the parent and the child go together and they go explore that and they make a plan together and they decide together. And so just kind of like counsel people how to come up with a way to reach a ministry that they have in their heart, or how to be self-employed, you know, while they're living their dreams, or even how to survive in a world these days. I don't know, whatever, it depends on what you want to teach them. But they could do it together. It's like an exploratory sort of thing of something.
Okay.
That's what it boils down to.
So we're just throwing out suggestions and ideas right now. That's good. I have to think about that a little more.
Because hopefully the child's getting ready to grow up and move on. And you don't just want to push your child out the door. You want...
I don't think we're pushing anyone out the door. I mean, they're living with their parents. I'm talking about teenagers that are still living with their parents. If parents would not get in the way of what they're doing
That's
online.
where the parenting onboarding checklist would...
Are you still talking about this checklist, Mom? Are you talking about some course or training or program, like another thing?
I'm just thinking of something that, as a family, that they could be together, accomplishing something.
So you're just saying like something else that would be appealing to them is if we had some sort of family and some sort of way to engage.
Some system, yeah.
Well, I know a lot of parents are not interested in what the youth are, and a lot of the parents are not as like technically inclined. Neither, like, just from my experience in working with them, they're usually the type of young people that we often work with. Their parents are so busy doing their life that they don't really have as much time with their children to help to be like that involved. So a lot of I don't think it should be this way, but a lot of parents kind of look at like youth programs as like, oh good, like babysitting, like they just could drop off the children. And I found resistance from parents when you try to involve them together, because they're like, look, I want a break, but
well, then why don't we be a youth program to the kids?
Well, we have been working with we don't work with kids, but we've been working with the youth and young adults, and that's basically what we want to do.
I consider a person living with their parent a kid.
Okay, well I consider a young goat a kid. Those go into everlasting fire on the left, and then the sheep's on the right.
Well, you could consider a ring something you wear, or something you hear, or something you step into the box.
I just find it interesting how all the worldly children get identified as baby goats. It's like, I wonder if there's a connection there. Matthew 25.
Well, maybe it's my age.
Yeah, so, okay, if we had an onboarding checklist, it seems like that would be pretty powerful for them. And reach that target demographic. I'm going to start praying for wisdom to see how we can encourage more people to listen through those audiobooks. It's going to be something else to consider. But we'll do that for another time. All right. Well, praise the Lord. Let's close with the word of prayer. Carmen, would you like to pray for us?
Father in heaven, thank you for bringing us here together. Thank you for what you're teaching us, and Lord, help us, please, to know how to move forward, and we ask for your wisdom and guidance and grace today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.